Hey, what's going on? Last time we left off on the caster masteries, and I wanted to continue that, this review of the passive mastery system. I know we're almost done. Last video was a little bit of a slogfest, 45 minutes, but I guarantee you that this one, we don't have that many left. So, let's kind of get through it. And I want to touch on, once again, I want to touch on the important nodes in the masteries, potential builds that come from the nodes, as well as some, thoughts in general, because I'm a crafter and my brain thinks about that sort of stuff. If you're looking for mapping content or delving content, this is probably not the channel for you. This is just, some idiot crafter talking about their thoughts on the game. Awesome. Moving on to the caster mastery. Final repeat of spells has 30% increased area of effect is kind of interesting. This is mostly for stuff like Spell Echo, and I'm not sure Unleash works with this. Spells cause you to gain mana equal to their cost every 5th time you cast them. This is severely underrated. Now, the reason is because this is, and every single, regain mana effect is always affected by mana recovery rate. It's always, always, always affected by mana recovery rate. This means that, super mana builds, Indigon builds, Archmage builds can abuse this to not have to run a mana flask. Because every 5th cast they cast fully heals their mana. So, just putting that out there. But most likely they'll have to run a mana flask if they're Archmage build, right, to keep up with the agnostic. This one's pretty okay. I think it's realistically useless, but if you want the quality of life, these two are big. Now, my assumption at this point is that they've removed these from the main passive tree, right? They've condensed the passive tree, so this is not like you don't have 6 seals. 6 seals seems useless, right? 6 seals seems useless. 5 is good. 1 from Helm, 3 natural, 1 from tree. So you cast the spell twice. That makes total sense. Most stuff stacks in 5s and 10s anyway. But really, the most fucking insane, bing bong, what the hell line is this? What is this? Why? Int stackers are already insane. Play Int Stacker, guys. If there's any takeaway, we're only 2 minutes into this video. We're 2 minutes in. There's one takeaway. Play Int Stacker this league. You won't regret it. Int Stacker this league. Alright, moving on to Charge Mastery. All of this sucks. This... Okay, see, this is useless. This is useless. This is the only line with any use. At all. There's just... For most builds, this will never be useful. You need to take this line no matter what, right? If you're stacking charges of any sort, whether that's frenzy, you take this line no matter what. But let's say you have 5 frenzy charges. You have 5 frenzy charges. That's pretty reasonable for just a normal casual build, and you take multiple frenzy charges. That's 15% increased damage, right? You're taking this. I don't know. It seems useless. It seems really useless. Moving on to the duration mastery. Yeah. Bless up, boys. Toxic Rain players rejoice. BV players rejoice. There is hope for you yet. Everything else here is useless. Alright, moving on to armor and evasion mastery. Not great. Just not great. None of this is great. There is one niche scenario where this, very specifically this, is really good, and that is with the gain armor equal to your evasion rating. Right, there's that item or build that revolves around that. Anyway, moving on to cold exposure or cold mastery. This is useless. This is really, really good. Fizz naturally converted to cold, and like I said, I'm assuming what they're doing is that they're removing this stuff from the main tree and putting it in cold mastery. Freeze duration is useless. Frenzy charge when you shatter an enemy is also useless. This is good. This is good. Cold exposure applies minus cold is really good. And if you watch my last video on this subject, you will know exactly what I mean, which is this could be potentially fucking insane, or it could just be good. Moving on to Evasion Mastery. I don't know. I don't like the new evasion system. I think, like, if this existed, right? If this existed in the current like system, this would be crazy good. This would be crazy good because Raider right now, with some proper building, functionally has like 95% dodge chance, right? Like you just don't get hit. You only get hit 5% of the time, right? And if you're zooming around, you will never be able to be stunned, right? You will always have 40% increased evasion rating, which I'm pretty sure puts you up at like 96% dodge chance. You have always 10% more increased movement speed. That would be really, really, really good. All right, moving on to Mind Mastery. 10% more damage from mines. Right, scaling down, so it would be like, realistically, when you burst the boss, it'll be like 4% more damage from mines. Somewhere around there, 4 to 5, because you detonate a lot instantly. Mines cannot be damaged seems pretty useless. You're almost instantly detonated. Anyway, the only time this is like a super, super useful thing is, you know, I don't think it's very good. This, really good. Really good. Really fucking good. And I don't know what they're doing to Saboteur, exactly. I didn't... But, you know, if this stacks with Sabo in any way, shape, or form, this is fucking crazy. Moving on to Bow Mastery. See, I'm a blink arrow, mirror arrow enjoyer. I think Bama has a lot of potential. I have a multiple mirror Bama in standard right now, and that's my only build in standard. And I think it's gonna get gutted because, you know, in order to play blink arrow, mirror arrow properly, you realistically have to build an aura stacker for it. That sucks. That sucks a lot. But, you know, none of this stuff is... See, this is really good, right? Like, none of this stuff is realistically good for the... Yeah, I don't know. For most zoom bow builds, it's not a big deal. Blind Mastery, just decent. For the most part, you don't really take any blind nodes on the tree, and I do not know if there are going to be blind nodes on the tree. Are there blind nodes on the tree right now? Zoom out. There's a couple. Just one, right? There's realistically just one. Maybe two. Nah, it's really just one node on the tree, and you never take it, right? Nobody's ever going to take this. And because nobody's ever going to take this, none of this really matters. And my hope is that the notable that they put in for blind is actually useful. That's my hope. And that this does not matter. Moving on to marks. Natural blind is very progress. Increased effective mark is meh. This is meh. And this is meh. So, for the most part, you also don't go marks on the tree as well. There's no reason to stack that. Moving on to daggers. This is the leak for Poison BV. This is it. This is the Poison BV leak. Critical strikes have natural culling strike, right? So you have culling strike naturally. And then, oh, it's so good. You have straight up 8% more damage. And that's, I mean, you're really not going to take any more dagger nodes than that. And if you're doing a physical like dagger build, like blade trap, oh my god, dude, this is so good too. Natural, a little bit of tankiness, but you know, it's not a big deal. Daggers, you know, there's hope. There's hope yet. This is useless. Every dagger build that okay. If you use Nightblade and ambush and assassinate, and you go for one ridiculously large hit with a dagger on an enemy with full life, you will have 200-something% critical strike multiplier. That's a thought. Is there a build that can be built off that? I highly doubt it, but that is a thought. Trap Mastery. This is interesting. This is interesting for sure. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the trap stuff. I played a lot of Trapper. I played a lot of Explosive Trap. I still have some really crazy good Explosive Trap gear. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is realistically useful. This, I know, is good. This is greatly underlooked. This right here is greatly underlooked. This realistically means you can just kind of spam your traps as you walk, and you will functionally hit every single enemy. Trapper's main problem was never bossing. It was always like feeling like literal garbage as you walked around the map, and this kind of fixes that. This seems really troll. Why not just make it the exact same as the mine one, which is 2%, 2.5% of life whenever a trap is triggered. Right? I think it should always be that way. I think it should be consistent between traps and mines, but it's still good. Spell suppression. It's bad. This is like 2% less damage taken, but yeah, it's still bad. It's still bad. Moving on to Poison Mastery. Poisons you inflict on non-poisoned enemies deal 300% increased damage. This is not that good. This is not good at all. If you think about it, very few, if any, poison builds... No, it's bad. This is bad. This is very bad. Most poison builds want to stack a lot of poison, and they have a lot of relatively small rapid hits. This is bad. Now, does this open up the chance for a one big hit kind of poison build? Mayhaps. But, you know, I would never take this on especially modern conventional builds. This is crazy, bro. This is so fucking crazy. 20% poison infliction speed, then 20% increased duration. You just straight up got like 20% more damage, and then 3% life on killing a poison enemy. If you're zooming, poison BV, holy shit. And realistically, you probably only take like 2 or 3 poison nodes. So you're grabbing this one, you know, this one, and then if you take a 4th one, you grab the Plague Bear for the extra zoom in the early mapping, and you're just blasting. All right, on to Evasion and Energy Shield. See, this feels like a scam. It's useless. Also useless. It just none of this stuff is realistically applicable for most builds. Moving on to Claw Mastery, we're almost there. We're almost at the end. Some Leech, some Blind. I want to pay attention to a few things. One is life gained on and mana gained on hit by attacks. For Claws specifically, Venom Gyre is a huge one, right? Venom Gyre, or even, and now especially with Blade Trap, an uber tank Blade Trap build with like, this is instant leech. You place down 5 Blade Traps, each Blade Trap hits 8 times a second. That's 40 times a second, 400 life per second. And the Claw themselves have natural on hit, so you're getting what, 900 life per second. If you have any sort of defense, this is obscene. All right, the rest of the notes are pretty Pepega. I don't think it's useful. Nightblade is already being used, and it's just good. Moving on. Yeah, okay. So this is functionally 20% increased damage. And the question is this. Does the projectile that you chain off Hydrosphere, does that count as 2 chains or 1 chain? I'm betting it's 1, but even if it's 1, this is functionally 20% increased projectile damage. And 40% if you take the first one, because you pierce through the Hydrosphere. So deck stackers as well for the next one. We knew deck stacking bows already existed. So, you know, this is just, you take this no-brainer if you're going deck stacking, cold bow, you know, that sort of stuff. This is useless, and then more projectile speed, less projectile speed. This actually might be more useful than more projectile speed for some negative projectile speed fireball shenanigans. There's a lot of spells that when you reach negative projectile speed, like 0 projectile speed, have very quirky interactions. Kind of curious to see how that revolves around that. And that'll be all of it. That's all the masteries reviewed. In the next video, I'm probably going to go through some builds that I plan on looking at. And yeah, thanks for watching.